Welcome to the Ninon Show, and thank you for tuning in. Yes, I am Ninon, your host, and we have some fabulous guests. I have Steve Rushfield. He's a lieutenant, but he has such an interesting story, which so many of, I guess, lieutenants do have interesting stories. How are you, Steve?
I'm good, thank you.
You're looking amazing, and you know, we have one little story which we're going to bring up a little later on, but you are now retired.
Yes, ma'am.
You look really happy and really content, so it must be pretty cool being retired, I guess.
I'm extremely happy being retired.
How old were you when you became a policeman first, right?
Yes.
And how old were you?
Left the military after 5.5 years.
Oh, wow.
Then applied for the police department, and about 25, 26.
26 years.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the police department in the military?
I was not.
You were not?
I was not.
It's because it just suddenly occurred to me, I didn't think whether the military have a police department.
Yes,
but I'm
they
sure
do.
they do.
Yes, they do.
When you said that, I thought, oh, you must have been you, but you weren't in that.
No.
So you kind of switched gears as to what you wanted to do.
I did. I've always wanted to do something with law enforcement.
Why?
Because it's a noble.
Tough.
It's a noble career.
Well, it's very noble, but at the same time, it's your life is kind of on the edge all the time.
It's how you handle it.
It never used to be, but it is now,
that's
right?
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, because I can remember coming to Vegas many, many years ago, and the police didn't ever give you tickets. Nothing ever happened. They were all very nice to you, and then hiding around every single corner, ready to pounce on you. And
back in the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s.
It was a different time than it is today.
Totally different.
Absolutely.
And the only people that change and make a difference are people.
Correct.
You know, people don't realize that the things that happen in this world, we as people, who may not be you and I, but other people change it. And we get mad at it, but it's people changing why and how we are today.
That's correct.
So what do you think of all the riots that we had last year? We had a tremendous...
It just put a lot of strain on a lot of good, hard-working people, the men and women in blue, as they're called.
Yeah.
It's a difficult time right now.
But now they've got the theft going on now. Now they've got, someone said the other day that there was more thefts than there were COVID-19 cases.
That's correct. It's remarkable, and it's tough right now.
So
to be
what's
a police
happened with our
officer.
society? What are we missing? Our guidelines or our humanity?
What are we missing? We're missing morals. We're missing discipline.
Now, we're talking about discipline of people. It's mostly kind of the younger generation that seems to go in and they just carry out a whole TV.
Sure.
I mean, they just carry the street like they seem to feel that it belongs to them and they don't have to pay for it.
I believe it's this generation.
So it is this generation. So is it a lackadaisical thing of the parents, teachers, parents, older people? When I'm saying older people, I'm probably talking about 25 and up.
Mm-hmm. It's a combination of all of it. It's just the way the system is right now.
So in your thought as a lieutenant, you were in charge of a lot, did a lot, had to take care of a lot?
Yes, ma'am.
Be responsible for your reactions?
Correct.
So what would you think, or what could you do, not you personally, but what do you think should happen now to get everybody back in gear again? If there's such a thing as being in gear again, I don't know.
And I'll be honest with you, Nina, if I knew that, that's the $1 million question. It's just really tough right now.
Is it, I mean, we can't all turn around and say, oh, it's too late, we're not going to do anything now, we just let it all happen, blah, blah, blah. We can't do that.
No.
So how do we get this message out to every generation? Because the ones that are doing it, no, it's the ones that are thinking about doing it, the ones that are doing it, the ones that have done it, and the ones, you know, that are sort of achieved by it all.
Again, if I had that answer, it would be a whole
So
lot
it would be a
simpler.
whole
I just
lot
have no
simpler.
answer to that.
So there's absolutely no answer as to go whichever direction to go. There's got to be somewhere. Is it computers because we've gone into this computer world, technology
I
world?
think it's a combination of computers, it's a combination of technology, combination of COVID. When COVID hit.
You hit a point. The reason you hit a point.
Combination of just the way society is right now.
The way society is right now. But you hit a point, COVID. It seems that if we go back 2 years, we seem to have lost 2 years.
Correct.
Lost 2 years. And if before COVID we didn't, I mean, we still had problems, but not as much as this. And now we have, but we don't seem to be able to, like you said, I don't know what to do to correct it. Nobody knows what to do to go back and correct it. Because we don't want to go back. We want to stay where we are.
You know, unfortunately for our society, we're split right down the middle. You have your left, you have your right. They're not getting along. The left will give you one answer, the right will give you another answer.
Yeah.
And the people, we the people, are stuck in the middle.
Stuck in the middle. Because I would love to do something. I would love for someone to turn around and say, hey Ninon, can you do this and this and this? And I would try to do it and see if we can help a whole bunch of people. Okay, on that. Now, in the police force, you had some very many daring things that happened to you. A lot of daring things. But there was one particular thing that you used to give food and candy. There's a beautiful story with Steve. He used to give food away and candy away to the prisoners and to people that didn't have what you felt you had more of. What was this?
Well, it started simple. Every other week on an off pay day, which would be on a Friday, I would have one of my guys be at our barbecue and cook the food for just internal, for just the officers.
Officers.
No,
okay.
the officers.
Oh, okay.
And then it grew to officers and staff. Then it grew to officers, staff, and judges. Then it grew to officers, staff, judges, patrol. So by the end, when I finally decided to retire, what started off as maybe a little throwaway grill turned out to be a 36-foot Blackstone
barbecue
where
Lord.
we were doing a lot of
would you do this every Friday?
Every other Friday.
Every other Friday, you would have like a cookout.
Yeah, barbecue.
A barbecue.
And then I noticed that when the gentlemen and ladies were coming in, the in-custodies from either Indian Springs or up in Ely, they were sitting in a cell all alone, chained up, not eating. And that's not right. I mean, you know.
And you were cooking all this food.
We were cooking
and
they were watching us eat. And
why was it that close?
Because we were right where the cells were.
Right in the police department.
Sure. And so I went up to the chief judge, and I told him, I said, just to let you know, if it's with your permission, would it be okay if I start feeding the in-custodies?
People, yeah.
And the officers that bought the in-custodies, because they weren't eating either. And he looked at me and he said, Steve, this is your courthouse. You do what you need to do. So one thing, and it snowballed.
Yeah.
And I was told by the assistant warden up at Indian Springs that every other Friday, the officers would actually try to get to family court where we were doing the cooking, because they knew that we would be taking care of them. So there was, I can't even give you a number, Nina, on how many people that we fed,
Really?
how many in custodies we fed, because it's just the right thing to do.
And then all the people around you that have been doing this, and you know, every other Friday, they also wanted to help as well, so they would help with you.
Absolutely.
So they'd all help. And
absolutely. And
I mean, talk
you know,
about humanitarian. I mean, that is absolutely incredible.
I don't think it was incredible. I think it was just the right thing to do. I couldn't justify it in my own mind, where we're eating in front of someone who hasn't eaten in maybe 7 or 8 hours. That's not right.
And this didn't mean to say because they'd done something wrong or because they were in there for whatever reasons they were in there or been put in there or whatever, didn't make any difference at all.
No, I'm not the judge and jury.
No. So you're the only thing you felt from your heart
Sure.
was to give them something to eat because you realized they hadn't eaten or done
Exactly.
for a long time.
Exactly. And it really,
Is this a common thing all the time?
in my situation it was, because this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I had the backing of the judges.
Yeah.
I don't know if any other courts or any other institutions do this. I don't care, honestly. I did it because it was the right thing to do.
You did it because you personally wanted to do it. And
Exactly.
You asked the judge if you
Yeah.
could do it, and he
Yeah.
said yes, you could.
And truthfully, what did it cost? It cost me a hot dog and some candy, and sometimes we had
sometimes
burgers.
it does cost you
Yeah.
time, and,
Yeah.
and what is time? Sometimes time is, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But this, as you said, it does cost hot dog, a piece of candy, and it made someone very, very happy.
Obviously,
And
yes.
obviously realizing that they were not completely depleted from the world.
That's correct.
Somebody was actually noticed them and actually saw them. You could make a big difference to somebody who would never do another crime again. This is one way of doing it.
Sure.
Giving somebody a side of life where somebody likes them and someone wants to help them, rather than, they're bad people and they're this and that. There's always something, you can always say something bad about somebody, I think. But it's, unfortunately.
No one's perfect. There was only one perfect person that I knew, and he died on the cross for us.
I was going to say he's upstairs.
He's upstairs.
He's still working, he's still looking after us and
Absolutely.
everything.
So judging people is not what I do.
So what was the greatest thing you felt you achieved as being a lieutenant? What was the greatest thing that you felt that I really have achieved what I wanted to do in this world of giving back, of working and giving back at the same time and helping people?
I was told years and years ago when I first came on as a rookie, I had an elderly gentleman who was my training officer, and his name was Tom Foster. He was old-time Las Vegas Sheriff's Department, then became city police, and he told me, he said, you know what, Steve, in your career, if you can touch one person, that's your entire career. And hopefully I was able to honor what he told me.
You were.
So.
And that you fulfilled.
Exactly.
I personally, Steve, don't think you are fulfilled yet. I still think you've got lots to do.
We'll see.
Do you have anything in mind that you would like to? I'm always out for the younger generation. Is there anything you would like to try to explain to the younger generation to kind of stop robbing these stores and become,
Just be kind. Folks, the little odds and ends that you're taking from people, hardworking people, it's really not going to get you anywhere. We're looking at a baby shortage of formula, for instance, and people are stealing formula and they don't even have children. So you're
why would they do that? That's not kind of a vindictive thing to do.
Exactly.
When you don't, are you doing it to spite them? What are you doing it for?
Couldn't
to
tell
make
you.
sure the other person doesn't get the baby food for the baby?
Couldn't tell you.
Funny old world, isn't it?
It is.
It sure is. So what would you like to say to the younger generation going into the police force?
Just remember, it's an honorable career. Always watch your six. Have a good partner. And I don't mean a partner on the department, but that helps also. Have a good partner at home. Keep your faith. Things will turn around.
I think that's a wonderful message. Always keep your faith, especially if it's helping somebody else, and that's what we should all be out there for. Don't be so selfish on ourselves. We know what we want, we know who we are, we know where we're going, but let's see if we can help somebody else on that very tricky road, and it is a tricky road.
It sure is.
It's a very, very, very fine path out there as to what you do, good, bad, right or wrong, whichever way you do it. Watch what you do, but take care of somebody else that you can feel in your heart. I took care of them.
Correct.
Thank you very much for watching the Ninon Show. I'll speak to you later. Welcome back to the Ninon Show. I love it when my producer turns around and says, action, and you're never ready when you're supposed to be ready, but I'm ready here. Anyway, I have another incredible guest. He's one of the top lawyers that I have heard about in Las Vegas. His name is, what was your name again?
Michael
Seth.
Yes.
Yes, Michael Seth. And have you ever been on a talk show before?
Nope, never have.
I had a funny feeling you hadn't. The reason I had, because you're not the type of person that will sort of just jump on a show and just do a show and anything else. I think you like to feel that you've got something to say. Now, being in Vegas and being a lawyer in Vegas and being a top lawyer in Vegas, I'm quite sure you've got a lot to say.
I'm not a top lawyer in Vegas.
Yes, to my eyes.
Well, here's the thing. For the most part, my role in when I represent people is to stay in the background.
Oh.
I try not to be in front of a camera like what we're doing right now. In fact, I thought we were doing something else today, like grabbing lunch.
Well, I hate to surprise you,
but here we are. Here we are.
Here we are. We can talk about anything else, but we don't have to talk about law. We can talk about something else.
No, we can talk
about the
whatever.
nightlife. We can talk about the nightlife and what's going on.
I have absolutely no nightlife. Just to let you know.
Well, I
go
am
home.
then.
Yes, exactly.
Nightlife.
There's a large part of Las Vegas that I think is something that every person who's ever heard of the word or the name Las Vegas will think of nightlife. And I live here, and I do not do
Were you
any
born
of that.
here?
No.
No.
No. I was born in a little island in the South Pacific called Tonga.
Tonga.
It used to be part of the British Commonwealth a long time ago, I think.
The British owns everything anyway, so I don't know, why did we lose it? We do.
It was on a poker game, I think, and then I think.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. There you
go. So that's where I'm from.
So, but now you studied law. What made you go into law?
I don't know. So here's the thing about the law.
Something went wrong.
I watched 2 TV shows in the 90s. One was The Practice. The other one was Ally McBeal. And if you were here in the 90s, those were 2 very popular shows.
Very popular shows.
And that's my only reference with regard to the law.
And did you like? You must have liked what they did to become part of it.
I was graduating from college with an English degree, and I seriously had no idea what I was going to do. Except someone had said, "Look, you can either be a teacher, or you could be a lawyer."
You just had 2 choices?
I had 2 choices. Not very creative. I totally get it. But yeah, those are my 2 choices.
Those were your 2 choices. Okay.
So I said, you know what, I'm not a very good teacher, so maybe I should just do the law instead. And then the question was, well, what do lawyers do? And
what sort of law are you going to practice?
Right.
What sort of, there's...
Exactly.
When you go in, it's so funny when you go into something. You think it's just you're the only person going into it, and this is the only thing, and then all of a sudden there's thousands of them and thousands of things and different choices you can have as to what law practice you would like.
Absolutely. Yep.
What was yours?
So when I got into law school, I realized that one very critical fact about myself is that I'm not the smartest guy.
Shucks, I thought he was.
We're going to be. This is a truth show, right? We're being truthful here. So here's what I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here we go. Let's lay it all out for everybody.
Here comes the truth.
Yeah, I believed, going into law school that I could just sort of mimic. And what you find in law school is there's a lot of very smart people who get into law school.
Yes.
And they get into law school because of their grades, and they work really hard to be there. And then when they graduate, they're very smart attorneys. They do a lot of very good things.
Yes.
My job, on the other hand, is I got into law school because I convinced the right people that I should get into law school.
Okay, not because you're going to
Well,
solve a case.
Well, no, it's not.
Sure.
I mean, most people they have good grades going from out of college into law school. They take the LSAT. They get a good score. I had neither. So, but I convinced the right people in the law school I wanted to go to, that were filled with very, very smart people, that I needed to be there and I should be there. And they said, "You're absolutely right. You should be here." But it had nothing to do with my grades or my
your
LSAT
grades
scores.
Good? Were they bad? Did you kind of slither through?
Slithering is a good word for a lawyer, but just to make sure we're clear.
No, I'm talking to a lawyer. So
I know all about slithering. I slither well. I'm telling you that right now. But what I'm telling you is that the law school I wanted to go to, it was less about the numbers, it was more about me, right? I was convincing the law school. Yeah, I was convincing the law school, okay, ignore my...
What can I handle? What do I understand? What do I want to be and do and help?
It was more like, what can I do to help you be a better law school, right?
Oh.
Right. So we're talking.
Yes.
What can I do to help you have a better interview? Right. Okay. I mean, that's sort of the same sort of thing.
I like that. Okay.
Right?
Let's roll with this.
Yeah.
What can you do to help me be a better interviewer?
Right now?
Yes.
Is this going to be broadcasted? Because I'll give you all the right reasons. Well, let me tell you like this.
I'm teasing.
Look, it's we're talking about you now.
I'm sorry.
We're talking about you.
Yes.
It's about content, right? It's about content. It's about maintaining enough interest that people will constantly come back to you in the future, right? Based upon what they are being, what they're seeing right now, what they're being entertained
with. Yes.
Absolutely.
Am I entertaining them enough? Am I giving them enough? Am I being funny enough, or am I being serious enough?
Or vibing with the right market, right? Because you're looking for a specific market. You're not going to be everything to everybody, but there's going to be a segment of this market that you want to make sure that you communicate with and you draw in and you keep.
Because you went into law completely different to most people I have talked to that are lawyers, with a completely different attitude.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I assume, because I said you were the greatest, one of the biggest lawyers in town, but you're very and I love the look,
It's the...
Yeah. But you have your own practice. Are you working for a company, or do you have your own practice?
No, I've been on my own since 2003.
Oh, so you've got many stories behind you.
Absolutely.
What sort of lawsuits, if you call them that, do you like to handle with people? And do you turn away people that come into your office that would like you as a lawyer, and you look at them and you say, no, I can't handle these people?
No. So the only time a person gets turned away is if they cannot afford me.
Okay, that could be really big.
Can we say that?
Yeah, of course.
We're on TV right now.
I'm going to find out if I can afford him.
But
I don't have any lawsuits going just yet.
but here's the thing, though. I mean, look, there's a lot of good... There are a lot of cases, right, that are interesting cases.
Yes.
And there are a lot of cases, for instance, on the criminal side, right, where there's people that stand up and say, well, I will never, ever take on a case that involves, a certain particular sort of subject matter, right? I have never been of that ilk. I don't care.
I can't handle that. I don't know what to do.
Here, I'm going to be honest with you right now, and this is going to go broadcast everywhere, and then I'm going to get a lot.
We don't care about that, do we?
This is a safe place. We're in a safe place.
We're safe, yeah.
Here's what I'm telling you. I've never cared about whether somebody actually commits the crime or not. In fact, I barely ever ask that question. I don't think it's relevant to what I do. I don't want to know.
Interesting.
Yeah. If you came in my office and you say, look, Mike, I want you to represent me because I did X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
I would listen to the first part and say, I want you to represent me. And then the last part, I literally would discount that. Because I don't care.
So it doesn't go on that. It goes on how you can solve their problem.
The law is different in that it's not necessarily about anything more than having the state of Nevada or the United States government prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you did anything. That's it. Whether you did something, I don't care. All I care about is whether or not the government or the state of Nevada can prove that. That's it. Simple.
So that's all so you don't waste your time with all this other triviality.
Well, I don't waste my time going home and out drinking a scotch, getting drunk because I think that the world is horrible and that the system is screwed up and it's an imbalance and blah, blah, blah. I don't care about any of that.
Do you think the world is screwed up?
Well, the world is the world. We've been, if you think about it, from the time,
the world is the world.
Right?
We're not going to change the world.
Thank you. We can't, because literally from the time we dragged ourselves out of the swamp, the world has been whatever it is, right?
And it's always going to be whatever it is.
Exactly.
The only thing is, it's like I'm looking at you and what you're saying and how you're saying it is totally different. This is a totally different interview than I expected, so I love it.
Sure.
You are an individual, and you are Michael, and there's only one person in this entire world that you really have to take care of first, is Michael.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, do you feel that if Michael or Ninon, if we're not in the right position and the right place and we're in line with ourselves, or what we need and how we need it, how can we help somebody else?
That's a good question. Sometimes, though, you find that balance in helping other people. So let's take a step back, because I think in our generation, or what we have in front of us right now,
Yep.
okay, we have people who say, I cannot help another until I help myself. The problem with that analysis is that when does that happen? When do you finally get up and you say, you know what, I've helped myself now, and now I'm going to be kinder to others, and I'm going to do things better for others? It doesn't ever happen that way. So what happens is that when you lose yourself in the service of others, is that when you really find yourself, right? Because, and I'm not asking for people to go out and join the Foreign Service or to, or the Red Cross. Yeah, I know. We're past that. But what I'm telling you right now is this: I think on some level is we should just do it just because. There should not be a purpose behind it.
Not a purpose, also not a definite time.
Absolutely.
There's no definite time to do anything in this world. And I think that's what people sort of think, well, I can't do it yet because it's not the right timing.
Right.
When it's never going to be the right timing. There's never
Just
right timing for anything.
I think
that's what I feel.
Right, and if you just automatically just do it just to do, then it no longer becomes a checklist, right? It no longer becomes something you have to do on top of paying your bills and going to work. If you're just a nice person, a good person to other people, look, and here's what I tell people all the time. By the way, is this show one of those ones where I can't say bad words on it?
You say what you want, but you can always cut it out.
Right, just let you all know out there, don't be a dick. What I mean by that is this. If you're a jerk to other people, right, then you're
going to be a jerk to yourself.
If you look throughout the entire world, take the entire globe, and you just said to everybody, forget about your religious position, forget about everything, you just said, just don't be a jerk to other people. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, whatever, I'm telling you right now, the world would be a completely different place starting today. Just because of the fact that we would get along better if we're not jerks.
That's so funny you should say that, because I look at the whole world and we have all different nationalities. We all speak a different language. But basically every single person is the same. Well, there's female and male. And we all do the same thing. Why can't, it's so easy to say, why can't we all just get on? Why can't we all just, instead of trying to doing something damaging to somebody else, why don't we try to do, well, not even try, just do it.
And this doesn't take much.
Doesn't take anything.
So literally, you're at a Starbucks here in America, right? And you're ordering something. And just be kind to the person that's taking your order. Say the person messes up your order, or just say you're just there at the line and you're at the front of the line and you just say good morning. That's all you need. You don't have to do anything more than that. This is not heavy lifting. We're not asking people
to pay their rent or to buy their car or do these crazy things.
Exactly.
I always make them smile or laugh. I always try to make them, and I look at them when I make them laugh. I said, great, look, I made you laugh.
Right.
And that's all it costs, nothing.
Nothing. And it's nothing out of your day.
So what do you actually do practice? What is your main thing you practice?
So I do mostly complex litigation and criminal defense. Yeah.
So you get people off a criminal case?
Sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if there's people out there that say that I'm the best in Las Vegas,
and they do.
Well, here's the people you need to talk to about that. The people you need to talk to isn't the people that love me and think that the best of me. It's the people that I go up against, and it's the judges here in the Valley. If you were to talk to people like that, they would tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
So even though I make a face and I say this off camera, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your opponents. It's the people that you fight against.
Yes.
If those people say the same thing.
Same thing about you.
Absolutely. And
so it's really keeping your credibility up,
Well, there's a lot of fluff, right? So we're in Vegas,
so
right?
Much fluff.
Oh, you have no idea.
No, it's all over the world, but probably a little bit more in Vegas.
Vegas, we're built on fluff. I mean, really think about it, the neon lights and everything else. I mean, we tear down landmarks all the time to build up bigger and grander and more bigger fluff, right?
Yeah. The more fluff, the better it is.
It's entertainment, right? I mean, that's just how it is.
That's how we are.
That's how we are. And what you'll find over time is that there's a lot of people that are very good at fluffing. They're very good at
Fluffing.
At,
No, we're not in a laundromat. No,
And
we're
we're
not
not-
fluffing in
yeah.
a laundromat. We're
there's-
actually.
there's an industrial term for something else, but what I'm telling you right now is this: is like there's this idea that somehow I'm just going to create the illusion, right?
Yes.
Of being something.
Yes.
And what you'll find over time is that there are a lot of people that fall for it. They get
They fall for
bedazzled
the
by the
fluff.
lights, by
Yeah.
the fluff,
Yeah.
shaking the tail feather, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. But then you have the other people that know, they're in the know, and they can tell you. And
Absolutely.
and I'd be very comfortable to say that about.
Do you love being a lawyer? Well, you're not really a lawyer, actually, so I
I'm
can't
not.
really ask. That's a silly question to ask you because you're not really a lawyer because you really become part of your situation that you're in. And
Well, lawyers are very smart people.
Yeah.
It just depends on the type of law that you want to practice. I practice. What I do is I talk to people about things.
yes,
That's it.
That's all you do.
And you know, at the end of the day, a lot of lawyers that are really smart aren't able to do that. They're not able to have this
A
conversation.
conversation? No,
Absolutely
I've never
not.
had a conversation with a lawyer like this. But then I've never really been. I mean, I've been in a lawyer's office many times and had
gonna
many
be-
conversations.
That's gonna be edited.
And,
That's gonna be
and
edited.
I've had many things going on.
Right.
But what would you like to? And then we'll close out. What would you like to say to the younger generation becoming a lawyer, or not to become a lawyer, or to?
Here's what I would say. Obviously, being a lawyer is a great thing.
Yes.
Being a lawyer, when you're doing it for the right purpose. The problem is nowadays is that we as a society are more geared towards litigation than ever before. We're more litigious, or the word is we just want to fight. And I think becoming a lawyer in the future is becoming someone who understands each other,
Yep.
humans, and how we interact in our society. We need better lawyers at that. We don't need the lawyers that understand the law. Let me back up here. We do need lawyers to understand the law, but I think the critical understanding and the critical skill is the skill of connecting.
Connecting with people.
Right.
And
And
understanding their predicament and
Absolutely.
understanding where they're
We
going.
live in a world right now where everything's a TikTok posting, an Instagram posting, some type of posting in which we are disconnected from people.
People, yeah.
But we create the illusion, right?
Of being connected.
Of being connected, when
Yeah.
in reality we're not. So
We're
when you
actually
sit
not
down with
connected
people,
at all.
Not
we're
at all.
just pressing these buttons and we're connected. We don't even know who we're reaching. We don't know who we're getting to and all that whole stuff.
And so when you're finally in front of a group of people, whether it's a jury, a judge,
Yeah.
that's when you truly understand whether you're connecting or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, you've been amazing. You've opened up a whole new sort of door of who a lawyer is, how a lawyer is.
We could
what
just
a
close it
lawyer
right
is.
now, though. We can
We
close
just-
it and
we
forget
can
about this whole
close.
thing.
We're
know
not
that.
going to forget about it, the whole thing. As you know, I'm at my mother's house, and this is where we're doing our filming, an incredible restaurant. And I'm going to have Michael Leonetti as my next guest coming on and talk to him a little bit about what's going on and what does he think about a lawyer, what does he think about a lieutenant, and what does he think about Ninon. We'll be right back. Take care.